right, thank you for tuning in to TTV. I'm your host, Toya, and today is Wisdom Wednesday, where I bring you topics or they have discussions where it brings wisdom and critical thinking into your life. So today I have something that many of you probably haven't heard of before. It's called the Tao Te Ching, and it should be a picture of the book. The book that I used was written by Ralph Allen Dale. It's his translation of the text. The text was actually found back in, I think it was something like 250 BCE, yeah, BCE, so before Christ, or before the Christian era, whatever they call it now, but BCE. And this is what it was that it looks like that they found, and where the translations and things were coming about. And it was believed to be written by Laozi, which translate to old master. And this is a picture of him riding a buffalo. Now, the book contains 81 verses. Most people take it verse by verse, break it down, see what it means to them, and explore them. I know, what was his name? Wayne Dyer. That was it. I know what he said that he did with these verses is that he actually wrote an essay on each and every one of them. So every time he would read one, he would go and sit down and write an essay about what it meant to him and what he got out of it. So that's something you can try to do as well. All I know is that these verses really get you to thinking. Okay. I've never made it through the whole entire book. Like I said, it's 81 verses. They're not really that long. It's just life happens, and I never made it through it. So I will this time with you. Okay. So this will be a first on this journey with you guys. I will be right here with you. I don't always look ahead at the verses, or I won't always look ahead. That way I can kind of go over it and you can get my first impressions, because sometimes your first impressions are the best impressions, right? The information that I gave for the book and the background is actually, I got it off of Wikipedia, so that link is below if you want to do a little more research. They had a lot more information on there, and like I said, there's also several versions of this book as far as translations go. So go out there and explore, see what other people think. So the verse today is called Transcending. Okay, so transcending means to go beyond the range of limits. Okay, so this is the verse. So I'm going to go ahead and read it to you guys. The Tao that can be told is not the universal Tao. The name that can be named is not the universal name. In the infancy of the universe, there were no names. Naming fragments the mysteries of life into 10,000 things in their manifestations. Yet mysteries and manifestations spring from the same source, the great integrity, which is the mystery within manifestation, the manifestation within mystery, the naming of the unnamed, and the unnamed of the naming, the naming of the named. When these interpenetrations are in full attendance, we will pass the gates of naming notions in our journey towards transcendence. So, when I read this, what it's saying to me is, because if we're thinking about transcending and going beyond the limits, when you name something, that name limits what that thing can be. So I'm going to use a chair, for example. We call a chair, something that you sit in. But is that really all that we do with it? Is it only limited to just sitting, or do we actually use more for it? We do. We use the chairs as stools sometimes to get that thing that's way up in the cabinet, top cabinet you can't get to, and you ain't got no stool. You go, let me get this chair real quick. Let me get these dust in the corners and grab this chair, So we use chairs for more than that. When you're a kid, you use chairs to build a fort. Okay, so it was your walls. So to name it and to give something a name, it's understood that you need something to call it for other people to understand. But in the beginning, nobody had that. In the beginning, nothing was named, which is what the first part of it says. The Tao that can be told is not the universal Tao. The name that can be the name is not the universal name. So even with that being said, what we call a chair is not what they call a chair someplace else. Okay, in infancy of the universe, there were no names because everything was new. Who was naming it? Nobody. It was just there. Yet the mysteries and manifestations sprang from the same source, the great integrity, which is what we call God or Spirit or Source or Yahweh, whatever name you want to give it. The great integrity. I actually like that name, the great integrity. So everything sprung up from the imagination and the creation and manifestation of God, which is a mystery within manifestation itself. So people don't understand, how can that be done? How did God create the earth? How did God create water? How did God do all the creations that he did? And that's part of the mystery, right? The naming of the unnamed. So when things, if you want to go by based off of the Bible, where Adam and Eve came here and they had to name stuff, they had to call something. Like the apple wasn't that thing on the even to say that thing is still giving it a name. You had to call it something. So the naming of the unnamed and the unnaming of the named, which means to realize that by giving something a name, you're not limiting what it is capable of doing. And then it says, when interpenetrations are in full attendance, we will pass the gates of naming notion in our journey towards transcendence. So to me, what that means is when you get to the point where you understand that you are more than what your name is, you are going beyond the limits of what was placed on you. Now, one of the things I really wanted to get into with this, and when I saw the name Transcending, and I did read ahead on this one to see what it was about, to kind of break it down in my own head, because I don't, I want to keep these as short as possible. People have a tendency to live life by their labels. Okay? There is the label of mother, label of father, label of teacher, label of depression, the label of anxiety, label of president, label of whatever label it is that you have. And that really limits you and what you are capable of doing, where you are capable of going in your life, because you're so stuck on this label that that's all you know, and that's all you become, and that's all you try to reflect in this world. And because that's all you're reflecting, that's all you're getting back, because you're going to get what you put out, right? So when you limit that and you base your whole life off of that limit, whether it's a belief, whether it's a title, whether it's a position or a diagnosis, you're limiting how far you can go. So to transcend, like the book is talking about, or like the verse was saying, to be able to transcend means to go beyond those labels, to go beyond what people are telling you are, and what you show and display to the world of who you are, to go beyond that and know that you are more than that. Your soul is not a teacher. Your soul, or just a teacher. Your soul is not just a mother. Your soul is not just, whatever title that you have on your job. Your soul is so much more than that. It's actually a piece of God that God gave to you as a gift. Okay? So, and that's how we go through life and experience life. So to limit that to just a title or a diagnosis or a position, you're limiting yourself and how far you can go in life. So that's what this means to me. I would love to hear some of your thoughts on this. Please leave comments, because like I said, I would really love to hear your ideals behind this. What did you get out of this? How did you feel about it? So leave those comments in the chat below, and let me know. And if you don't understand or know that I am very big on integrity, should be a video around here somewhere that goes to my integrity video, because it is, to me, it is a very big part of who you are, and it's a very big part of maintaining who you are by maintaining your integrity. So that's the message for today. Check out the integrity video, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, because tomorrow will be Thursday, Expression Thursday. So I will talk to you tomorrow.